Right, so welcome back to our podcast, and today we are talking everything tractors.
Sounds good.
Tractors all day, and we're joined by a very special guest who some of you probably don't know because he doesn't really feature on our channel very often, but he has done in a few videos. We've got Lee, who's my brother-in-law, and Max's uncle.
That's it.
So,
yeah. Hello all.
Yeah, so today we're talking about tractors, contractors, machinery. We're talking about our favourite tractors of all time. Our worst tractors of all time, possibly, if we can get that out of Lee. He might be a struggle. And also, we've got three different opinions, because we've got Lee, who knows more about tractors than anyone else I know. Has been a long-term subscriber of Profi magazine.
Yeah, absolutely love Profi, yeah.
And then you've got me, who's in the middle, who probably knows a little bit about tractors, and has got a bit of a bearing on it. And then we've got Josh, who would probably be...
We can teach.
Who hadn't got as much experience as me, and certainly not as much as Lee. So I think there's three different opinions on tractors today that we can hopefully divulge some more information on. Now, this episode is sponsored by FPM Machinery. Now, if you've watched us before, we've done review videos on their haymaking equipment last year, and we've got lots of videos coming this year. And that's why I want to get Lee involved in this one, and that is because we have got bigger machines coming, bigger than I know how to use them, and equipment I've never used before, so I'm probably not the right person to...
Yeah, that's fair enough. No,
happy to help.
What he's trying to say is he hasn't got the equipment to power it.
That's true, that's probably right, yeah. It takes some handling.
Including a 3.2 metre disc mower conditioner, a 3 metre power harrow, and a 8-star tedder as well.
Yeah, that'll be fair whips. Good weight to them as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
So that they would, I know you got your Sammy Silver, but actually the 3.2 mower, I would have thought, if he's pivoting up on the side, he takes some handling, I would have thought. So hopefully we got the tractors to, and we'll see those videos in the future.
And people who are watching the videos will hopefully get more of an insight from someone who's used that sort of size kit before. Rather than going from me having to make it up.
Yeah.
If you did a bit of practice beforehand, I expect Max has got a Britain's Farm.
Probably has, yeah. I've had that in the past. Still got it.
Bit of carpet farming.
Yeah, exactly.
Can't beat it.
That's what you learn.
Yeah. So Lee, tell everybody who hasn't seen you in our videos before who you are, where you come from, what you do, and your experiences in the machinery world.
Yeah, well, I'm Lee. Uncle Lee, like you say, is Max called me. We grew up on a farm, been farming ever since I can remember, and always been interested in all aspects of farming, but especially into tractors, tractor driving, tractor work. Moving on from that, I then, like we all do, as soon as we can touch the pedals, which is 13 years old obviously, we were out driving tractors and learning from our older generations as such. I'm fortunate, like we say, we learnt then and then went to college. After college I came back and started contracting. Very fortunate, my wife's family have got a contracting business, and fortunate enough I got with them. I think we've been with them now 20 years. I think I started in 2005, my first year with them. Ever since then been contracting. We were into the foraging game. I used to drive the Class Jaguar Forager, which I absolutely love. That is a passion, forager driving. He sold that one. He sold it on to another chap. I went there and drove it for a bit. He then sold it to a third person, and I'm actually still with that same forager, driving it now. So I'm still the same forager, just different people, different customers, but absolutely love it.
And he's still got the same smile on his face from the day he first drove it to the day he still drives it
exactly.
now. So,
it wasn't that forager, but actually me and my wife turned up at our wedding reception in a forager. So it was something different.
John Deere forager, what?
No. I'm class, I am class through and through on the forager market.
What about the machine?
Well, yeah. They've all got their bonuses, but for me personally, I'm class. Always have done. That's what I've driven. That's what I've learnt and know them inside out, and absolutely love it.
I was gonna say, you mentioned about obviously your wife Anne-Marie, lovely Anne-Marie. Obviously, her grandparents having contracting businesses. With. Now, I think it's a very different contracting setup to what most people see traditionally. On most contracting setups, you would see one brand of tractor,
That's it.
all the way through. Either one contractors, they're either all John Deere, or they're all Fendt, or they're all New Holland, or whatever it might be. With working for Brian.
Yeah, with Brian. Yeah, it's Brian Dunham who I work for. A lot of you people know Brian. He's been contracting for years, 60 plus years, and he, like you're saying, I think some of the contractors go down the route of, if you can get dealer and backup support, you'll stay with them. They'll have, like you say, Fendt or John Deere or New Hollands. But if you continuously got that backup, and the more perhaps machines you got, do the dealers favour because they'll look after you, which is fair enough. Brian, though, is very much, he would buy the machine for that job. Mm-hmm. He was very big into his line spreading, so he stuck with Massey Ferguson at the time because they had the land drive. Mm-hmm. And like you say, back in when he first started out, they did a lot of reclaiming the moor ground. Well, they needed the land drive because they were going up and down steep. 6-wheel drives push them all up over. And moving on from that, we actually then ended up with a Vulture in the mix because of the land drive at the time. But then they, like the John Deeres, they had 6410s and 6320s, sort of little pocket rockets, as what we'd call them. But they were the ones that were on the rates. They could nimble, they get in and out on the hedge trimmers. These are tight, narrow Devon lanes. You needed something a bit narrower to get down through. And then his prime workhorses were always Fendt. But he would clock some serious hours, and he just wanted the backup of the actual machine. So he sort of bought perhaps to what the machine was going to do rather than sticking with one dealer. Mm-hmm. But it's a different concept now. I think a lot of people now are in, and you roll through perhaps with the same dealer. They know you know them, and parts and backup, and
I'd say the other thing as well, it's a bit like any sort of machinery you buy. Once you're in with a brand, unless you have a really bad experience with it, why would you change? It takes a lot for someone to then change brand to something else that potentially they don't really know much about.
I think a lot of it is money as well. Like you're just saying, you stay in with the brands, but if you buy, just say for example, I'll pull out the Kuhn. So you buy a Kuhn plough or a Kuhn power harrow, you'll then build up over time replacement parts for that machine. Mm-hmm. Well, suddenly, like you said, if you suddenly think, hang on, I want to go and change to, say, Caverland, well, none of those parts are then going to go across. Mm-hmm. So then all of a sudden you've either got outlay of extra spare parts in your workshop ready, or do you not run any spare parts, but then when you break down or something happens, you then possibly got to wait, which downtime in nowadays contracting is no good. I've always laughed, contracting now, even since when I started, you got to finish that job yesterday, not today.
Yeah.
It's a quick market. Agriculture, farming in general, is just speedier than it ever was. You used to I heard Brian and that talk about it, and Dad, they used to take 3 or 4 weeks to work down for a field of grass seeds and just leave it. Now, if you're not in and out in a couple of days, well, you took too long. What's happened?
Something's gone wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now, would be a big factor with regard to contractors' machinery be bums on seats? So trying to obviously employ people to sit on a tractor all day long isn't getting any easier.
No.
Trying to find tractor drivers, especially in busy periods, because most contractors haven't got work for everyone all year through. No. Some will do slurry during the winter and then forage in the summer.
Yeah.
But trying to get people at the right time, and then everyone else wants them as well.
That's it.
The easiest thing. So, do you think people having the right brand or the right machines helps that situation?
Definitely. Me personally, if I was to go out on the market and looking for a job, I would specifically look probably to what machine I would be driving. And obviously I've got my favourite, so I'd favour that job possibly. But is
Vita.
that no? Not probably not. Nothing against them, but just probably not. I think now, if you've got a good driver and they are putting in the work and they really do look after your machines, yes, you might spend a bit more money, but I think it is worth spending that extra money, keeping the driver happy. If they got a happy work environment, they'll come to work happy every day. Well, hopefully every day. And they'll stay around because you look after them. They'll look after you. So I think that's, especially like you say, the drivers aren't out there like they used to be.
No.
And as much of it now, all this gear is big money anyway. So you want them to look after it. Suddenly £10,000 in a lot to... No. If something happens, if something gets caught or ripped or broke or something...
Do you think the contracting game has shrunk, but those contractors that are doing it have grown bigger?
Definitely.
So they've amalgamated the small the small independent ones,
so.
and they've gone.
Yes, yeah. But like James just mentioned, I think the bigger ones are just doing everything.
Yeah.
And you've got to, because if you're going to keep a full-time chap, you need them to do something from November to January or February even. Otherwise, you can't keep everybody just in the workshop twiddling their thumbs. You need to do something. So then all of a sudden you get a bigger machine. So you perhaps might buy another piece of machinery. So then they're bigger. But I think the contractors possibly have gone where you just have one-man band, or not one-man bands, because they're still there, but like the couple, 2 or 3 tractors. I think they're sort of moving away a bit. And it is now, you've got to be 5 or 6, 7 drivers or more sometimes.
Apart from the specialist ones who just specialise in one thing.
Well, that's it. If you've perhaps got specialist ones that are just, say, into land draining or just hedge trimming, which when you're good at a job, and farmers do respect that, when you are good at a job, they will have you back. There's no question about that. They will look after you. But yeah, I do think it's the bigger contractors that are staying. Is it right or wrong? I don't know. Or is it just rolling? It's just figures on paper. So who knows?
Always have the farmer's son who's always out there trying to do a bit using their machine.
And I think that's possibly what's sort of merged out some of your contractors. The average horsepower, like when I first started, I can remember when we first broke the 100 horsepower mark back at our farm home. Well, that was massive to have a 100 horsepower tractor. Whereas now we're 180, don't even think about it. And most farms around us, there isn't many that now haven't got 150 plus, if not 200. And it's moving, it's going to the 300 marks. To see a 300 horsepower tractor now pulling a trailer is nothing.
And 10 years ago you see a big tractor in Devon and it's like, oh, look at that. You don't see
you don't at all. No.
And now they're everywhere.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, exactly.
You think, oh, that's a tractor from up in Lincolnshire or somewhere like that. You see that. You wouldn't see anything down here.
No.
One thing we haven't seen down here yet, very much of though, you probably might correct me, is like your case quad tracks and your...
we haven't seen you haven't seen the tracked vehicles. I predominantly say that's because they tend to be on more arable ground, which is then to do your compaction, and so when you're running over the soil, it's not pushing it down so tight with all your tracks.
Gateways for
bigger gateways, and I don't think they'd favour the slopes.
No,
you're drifting along, you're trying to go across the side of the hill, you're only rubbing on that rubber track in the middle. They're a lugging tractor, like they're a grafting tractor, they pull, but I don't think it would suit quite the Devon. One, it wouldn't suit the Devon lanes.
Well, we said that about 300 horsepower 10 years ago.
That is true. It's coming. Yeah, that is true. True. But
depends where farming goes in the future, I suppose.
Well, that's it. Yeah. What is going to happen in the future?
Yeah. So, have you got any? What's your aspirations for the future of machinery? Because obviously, you see a lot of automations coming into the market, and obviously robotics and things. Do you think?
I think it's coming. If we go back to highlight the point, we're not going to be able to find the drivers to fill these seats, sit on these seats. Is it going to be a case now one chap stood in the corner with his iPad and he's operating 8 or 10 drones? I was only speaking to a chap the other day just down the other side of South Molton. He was applying I think he was glyphosate or something through a drone on a sprayer. Admittedly, he didn't do very much with one drone in that day, but he was just there. The drone would go up, fly down across the field, knows he's empty, comes back, lands, refills, go again. But if you get into that market, or if you get into that system, and you've got 3 or 4 of these drones, they're covering all day. They are not doing no ground compaction because they're obviously flying through the airs. So is it that thing? Farm machinery, the size of it, like I say, when I first started, you're talking 2.5, 3 metre corn drills. 12 metre corn drill now is not out of spec. It's one of those things. Well, look at that. That's a nice drill. But are you going to go back the other way? Perhaps not possibly the drones, but robotics, of going in with a little robot, then autonomous tractor that then drills only say a metre, but you've got 4 or 5 of them all going down through together.
And you could leave them for 24 hours doing their job, and you haven't got to pay a driver to sit on it.
No.
So it comes back to smaller machinery.
That's
which
it.
Can do more than a bigger machinery.
Yeah. And you can handle it. You can nearly pick it up, move it.
Yeah.
It's not this big gear. So I don't know. The technology's advanced, I would say, tremendous in probably the last 10 years. The biggest jumps. You've got your GPS. You're down to your accuracy of about a centimetre, 10 mil. on which you're talking like say a 36 metre sprayer, they're down to the accuracy of 10 mil. It's all pinpoint precision agriculture now. So then moving on from your GPS, so then they know where that tram line is or where they're running every time in their corn. Even when you come into mowing, you can tell the GPS, it'll work out. So you map your fields, which most of the time, most farms now, if they're running the GPS system, all those fields will be mapped anyway. Moving on from that, the machine links will actually, if I know my width of my machine, if I actually put a line in here, that'll be the shortest way possible the quickest way possible to complete that field. Well, it's all automated, all through GPS. So Josh goes in with his tractor first. Oh, there comes up that field, cow field, say. So I come in with my tractor, or it comes up on my screen. I can see what Josh has done or doing, or if he's in at the same time. You then might come in with yours, comes up on your screen. It's all linked together.
Yeah. Which that side of technology I think is brilliant. I think where manufacturers will struggle is the driverless tractor.
That's
scenario.
it, yeah. It's the size.
Because people still enjoy sitting on the tractor, no matter how big or small you are, how old or new you like your machinery.
Yeah.
That driverless, I think, will be probably from our industry, more from the garden side, is that early adopter stage of robotic lawnmowers, wasn't it? Everyone was sceptical of them, thinking, no, I enjoy mowing my lawn. Why would I want to have a robotic lawnmower?
Yeah.
But you see the same with tractors. But I think with tractors, you've got that little bit more sort of danger area.
It's the size, I think.
Yeah. So you've still got to have someone in a field sat on a truck controlling a 5, 6, 7, 10 ton machine.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
To control it. But if you could have someone there sat in one tractor doing manual work, you've got 3 other machines in there robotically doing. So the driver in that tractor is controlling the other 2.
Yeah,
so
they've got that already now. They've run it before, and you'd be on YouTube, etc. But they're going down through, and the tractor's following exactly behind, mirror imaging, but obviously over the width of the machine.
Yeah.
So exactly as this one's doing, that one's doing the same.
Right.
And there won't be nobody in that tractor.
No.
He's controlling from the front one. Which then moves on to, say, combining. So when we haven't got it on our combine, but just for example, John Deere, so the combine's in the field ready to unload. The combine will send a signal back to the grain cart tractor. The tractor, obviously, there'll be somebody in that tractor. They then drive it down. As he gets to nearby to unload, so the auger's out ready to go, they'll sync that tractor into the combine.
Right.
The combine driver can then drive and operate that tractor. Right. So the chap the driver in the tractor won't actually, they'll be in control. Yeah. If anything happened, they can take it over. But as they're loading into the grain cart or the trailer, the combine driver can then activate to push that tractor forward to fill the back, or bring him back to fill the front.
Because he can see what's in the trailer.
Yeah, you can see him better. Yeah. So it's all to do. It's to do with safety, but again, it's to do with the optimal output.
Yeah.
So it's all linked up, and then once he's finished, just delinks, and it's all gone back into that the tractor's cab, and off they go. But it's all that technology. They're already starting to talk to each other. They know, and I think. They might be corrected, but I think the tractor driver then can see all the telematics off of the combine. So he can see, he's getting his grain tank to 70-80% full. He's going to be buzzing in a minute. I'm going to have to get there. Yeah. On the other end of the field, got to get back, etc. It's all there. The technology is all there.
And I can see it probably more in like America, where you've got like the prairies.
Oh yes,
and you've got 5, 6 combines in a row.
Yeah.
It's that middle combine controlling the rest of them.
Yeah,
and it's all going through.
So.
So you've still got that safety element of there's a human there controlling the situation, but you haven't got to have all those drivers filling those seats.
No, and that's where I don't, like we keep saying, but I don't think the people are out there to do it.
No. Or the people who want to do it.
Well, it's one thing.
The farming is losing the experience of tractor drivers as well. Those sort of people have had sat on a seat for 10, 20 years, what they're doing, and they've done that field 20, 30 times, the same job. Whereas,
that's it,
you get the young bucks come in and,
pull into the neighbour's field and
drill that one. Drill it, rip it up, spray it. You know once you do it so fast now, like you say, spraying, etc. You're in the field, you've done it, you're out, and all of a sudden, that wasn't the right field.
Yeah.
Well,
amazing. Going back to the experience side of things, it amazes me. Like me and old man will go out for a walk. Yeah. He'll go, I spread that field up there. I spread that. Yeah, that's about whatever many acres. And
that's it.
You want to go down there and stuff like that, and that's the experience
learning
that the industry's going to lose, isn't it? Really. Because they haven't had that generation thing come through.
No, and I had that the other day. I was speaking to a young chap who's first time out ploughing, and he said, I'm struggling to get me lines straight. I said, just let the steering wheel go. And he said, what do you mean? I said, if the plough's set up, the plough will pull your tractor straight. Just let the steering wheel go where he wants to, because he's ploughing in furrow. And I said, you end up. And he messaged me back not very long after, dead straight now. And he said, I think it's your generation. He said, well, we've got to learn from or listen to. I think that's as much of it. It's all well and good. Perhaps the older gen. I'm fortunate. I've grown up with the technology, but the generation perhaps older to me hasn't. So they've got to learn. They're going to listen to perhaps what myself and younger again that we've grown up with it. But obviously, we still need to learn from them to just the aspect of tractor driving. Like you're saying about your dad, he knows not to go down over there, or he wouldn't go down with a full load or anything like that, and turn certain ways. And there's a certain extent of learning on the job. But if you can see it happening, like I could look at it and feel, well, I'm definitely not going to go down there to start, or whatever. It's perhaps having that aspect now of, it's changed from when, you probably back me up, like the 135s ties, wasn't it? And we got a 90 Sammy at home, and that was one of the first ones I drove, like the main tractors I was driving. You couldn't just put an uphill and go.
No.
Whereas a youngster now, like Max or my little boy, as they come up through it, they'll have the power under their toe. They can point it up their hill, just put the foot down. Chances are he's going to go.
Yeah, the tractor will know what it is, like a traction control thing.
Exactly. He'll slow down, go.
Knowing how to understand to pull your foot off the throttle and let the vehicle do its work
That's
for
it.
you.
Yeah.
Rather than everything doing it for you and think, that's right, I'll just sit back here, put my foot on the floor and it'll do the rest.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
so I do think, like I say, it's that thing. We learn from the older ones. We'll teach some younger ones. Hopefully they'll learn a bit from us. And it's just passing the knowledge down through. I think that's where it's got to be looked upon, or to help perhaps youngsters coming into it as well.
So if you were a youngster then, I'm probably jumping forward on me sort of list of things I was talking to you about, but youngsters looking to get into farming or into contracting, you've been there and done both. Whether they're from a farming background or non-farming background, what advice would you give them to be able to, because we get a lot of youngsters watching the channel.
Yes, yeah.
So it'd be good to have someone like yours experience to
ask questions. Do not be afraid to ask a question. It's better to stop and perhaps say, right, hang on a minute, if I go down over there, what do you think will happen? Or I think you're going to jackknife slide down over. So I would go out in that field, empty out some, say for example, just use, I don't know, spreading muck or something. Go out and empty some out in there, then come back in here if you've got to do that field. Or can you wait for a couple of days? It's not always necessary. Then go back and do it. But I do think, ask questions. Don't think, I'm the boy and I'm the driver.
We've seen plenty of them.
Well, of course you do, yeah. And possibly it doesn't help the fact that, like you say, they're into these big 200 plus horsepower tractors now. That was a dream when I was starting.
Yeah.
It really was.
Just to see one.
Well, they can sat on Farming Simulator and
well, that's
do that. Drive right through that edge, you'll be fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's understanding, when you're going alongside of the field dung spreading, knowing which way to turn with a different type of spreader you've got behind you. Especially if you've got wet ground. And most of the time people are push.
That's
the contracting owners and things like that. It's like, right, got to go and get that field done.
That's
and
it, yeah.
A lot of young lads will sit in a tractor seat and just think they'll just go and do it, and then that's when accidents happen.
I think so, yeah. So biggest piece of advice is ask questions. Don't be afraid.
If you don't know, just ask.
Yeah, I honestly do think, and I've asked plenty of questions. Hopefully I've learnt from it.
We still ask now.
Yeah, exactly.
I do. I'm asking Lee how to do so all the time. So what do you think about this? What do you think about that?
What's this look? No, it's definitely ask.
Yeah. Brilliant advice. Brian Lee, favourite tractor in the modern era. So if you in the last 5 years, favourite tractor.
Without a doubt, the Fendt 724.
724,
Yeah,
which you featured on our channel.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I brought it here one day, didn't I?
Yeah.
Used it here, and I just think it's absolute all round. The size of it, yes, it's big enough to handle this big machinery, because you can always put weights on the front, wheel weights on the side if you need it. But then also it's small enough to actually run around and do the lighter jobs on perhaps like a rake, say for example. The fuel efficiency on it, I think, is brilliant. Love Fendt anyway, inside and out.
You don't.
afraid so.
That's news. That's new to me.
It's that VTEC control system.
Exactly. Exactly. It's just all there.
It makes nice noises.
Pretty buttons, flashing lights. So for me, that would be the tractor right now. Would be the Fendt 724, personally.
Brilliant. Right.
Yeah.
Favourite tractor, modern classic era. So yeah, late 80s, 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I would. I think I've mentioned it before. I think, but there would be two. It'd be the Fendt 7810. Just, it was one
John
of
Deere 7.
Yeah, John Deere. Sorry,
Yeah.
Sorry, you pulled me up there. Yeah. No, 'cause the other one's
Fendt on the brain.
Yeah, Fendt on the brain.
Look.
The John Deere 7810. It would be.
Yeah.
That for me was one of the icons when you were growing up.
Just the
Look
noise.
at that tractor. It was the noise, the quad box that was in it. You could just shut it all the way up through. It was just size to the power ratio again on that one. Just all about it. When you was youngster, you'd look into it, and that was always one of the tractors. Think, yeah, that is a, and they're still there now. You ask any John Deere fan, that would be one of the tractors they would want, I think.
And what's that tractor and a Land Rover got in common?
Pass.
You've always got to have a side window open.
Yes. Not to put your arm out.
No.
Not on that tractor.
Just to hear that sweet noise of that exhaust.
Yeah. And then probably later, which would be in the 2000s, would be the Fendt 820.
Oh yeah.
That would, yeah. I was very fortunate to spend a lot of hours on one, and that again, you just never had refusal. Just a real good solid tractor.
Yeah.
That would be the two. They're very similar tractors, both very similar in size, but they're different reasons why I probably like them both, and I probably couldn't separate them.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just to stick a third, I've always got a soft spot for a Sammy.
Yeah. Which I've inherited. Now Lee has a massive hold over my son with regards to what tractors he likes and what I get to buy for our other channel, Find It, Fix It, Farm It, where we buy used machinery, do it up and sell it on, as well as other stuff. But I'm only allowed to buy Manitou telehandlers because Lee likes Manitou telehandlers. I'm only allowed to, the aim is to own a Fendt one day.
You'll get there one day.
And
Max will get there.
Max will get
there. Yeah.
And I'm only allowed to buy Sammy tractors otherwise, the smaller ones. So there's a bit of influence there going on.
I think so.
Yeah, and now the wife's got a RAV4, which
you copied it. Yeah, I had a RAV4.
So
yeah,
he's got a RAV4. Now we've got a RAV4. You seem to be.
James is working up to a chauffeur.
No, I'm not there yet.
Keep at it, you'll get there. Christmas.
Yeah, and apparently Josh and I are supposed to be the influencers, but I think the main influencers here in the middle. He'll start doing makeup tutorials next.
Exactly. Yeah, I need a lot of that.
So, all right, we've got modern classic. What about vintage? If you were to go out and buy a vintage tractor to go to tractor rallies with, what would be your tractor?
Well, I've got one home in the shed waiting to be done up, but it'd be a Fordson Major. Yeah. Came through from my granddad at the time, and he's all working. He just needs that final few finishing touches.
Like starting.
Yeah, he will start. He put a power pack on. Mike would get him to start.
Yeah,
he'd get him running. Right. Yeah, he would. But it'd be fairly tight between that and the Fergie T20.
Yeah.
I think both of those were iconic tractors of their time. That's all that was out there at the time, I think, as well. Mm-hmm. And just the whole concept of the Ferguson linkage, Harry Ferguson brought that in first. It dramatically changed farming. Yeah. One, it made it a lot safer. You weren't having the accidents, weren't there. But all of a sudden, it opened up that whole folder as such of machinery.
Well, when you think of the war effort,
exactly.
That's when the T20.
That's it. Yeah.
Really did change.
The numbers they rolled off the factories is mad. But so that and the Ford Major, I think, I think that is, again, probably the two of them. They were the tractors. I think they were probably the originals of the modern tractor we've got now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We look at it, like you said, about 3-point linkage.
That's when it started.
It's all everything's reflective from that tractor onwards.
That's it.
Through everything that's come since.
Yeah. We happened to have a trip to London a couple of weeks ago. We went into one of the museums up there, and actually, the Ferguson linkage system is in the museum.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Good on.
The model that they produced is a little model they showed of how the tractor used to go along with a trailer plough, and then the tractor would rear up. Well, then you could change it. I've seen the model work before. You could then change it and put the little 3-point linkage plough on the back. Plough along, hits an obstacle, tractor just stops. Mm-hmm. Driver's safe, everybody's safe. actually back, lift up the plough, go forward, drop and carry on.
Yeah.
And that's in the museum, so it's just iconic of what it is. And like I say, Fords and Major have done the same, and yeah. It'd be one of those two that I will get there one day. We'll do that one day. You do your 135, I'll do me.
Yeah, you got me 135 there sat in the shed. Still not working clothes. Well, I do like working clothes in classic tractors.
There's that certain,
there's nothing worse. Use them after you've done them up, can't you?
There's nothing worse than someone doing up a tractor and then it just sitting in a shed. No one can see it.
No.
Fair enough, it's going to museums so people would learn from it or something. But or it's going to a lot of tractor rallies to be presented. But when it just sits in a shed, I think it's such a waste.
There is.
And when people have got like 50 of them, they still don't do anything with them. You think, that's just greedy. Come on, share about.
Exactly. Yeah, and I do think engines, they want to be going. They want to run.
Yeah.
You got to get the fluid moving, the oils moving around, everything. I just think. Yeah, I know you don't want to put the hours on them, perhaps, and everything else. That's perhaps what they buy them for, just to look at. But no, I think you want to get them out, and that's why going to these vintage rallies, etc. I think it's brilliant.
Well, it is. Now, talking about fence, I nearly did buy a fence.
Oh, you weren't very far away.
I wasn't very far away. I wish I'm kicking myself that I didn't buy it. Now, I'm trying to think what the model was now. It was a 280, no, 280 was it? 209.
209, 309.
It was a 2 something.
Yes, it was.
But it's come out of Pershore College in an auction the other day. And 1989, and it did look immaculate.
It was.
It's been,
it did look tight.
Coming from a college, agricultural college, it'd probably been taken apart and put back together as many times. So I think we'd have got Mike checking every single nut and bolt to make sure it's done up. But yeah, we were nearly the owner of a Fendt, and I was the underbidder. And I still can't believe now it's still sold for £10,800. I went to 10,600. Could have just been one more bid and it could have been ours.
Could have been.
And that would have been a perfect vintage rally tractor.
Oh, it would have been. Because they're not about.
No, they're not.
I think, going back again a little bit before, like we were saying about seeing these 200, 300 horsepower tractors about, Fendt back 15 years ago weren't about.
No.
Whereas now they are. You would generally see a Fendt probably on the road now. But especially going back to that era of tractor, they would be a rare.
Yeah.
And the condition he was in, like we say, I saw the pictures when you were doing it, and he was tidy.
It would have been nice.
He'll come about one day again, perhaps.
Anyway, bought John Deere now, so...
Yeah, that's that subject done.
Yeah. I'm waiting for someone to see that tractor for sale through another dealer somewhere for like 18 grand.
Yeah,
it'd probably make it, to be quite honest.
I think it would.
Because it's that rare in the UK. Yeah. Right, we've done your favourite tractors then, Lee. Do you have any tractors you wouldn't want to buy?
Not. Where he says nothing.
I'm trying to say that.
Well, yeah, nothing I wouldn't want to buy. But there was one tractor we had out contracting, and I just could not get on with it. I just didn't like it. He was just flat, and unfortunately, Massey Ferguson lovers won't like me. But it was the Massey Ferguson 6280, and for whatever reason, we had that one in the yard back when I first started with Brian, and we had a 6270. And for whatever reason, the 6270 would just outdo that 80. He would just out pulling. He'd just go. He'd just a better tractor all over. And that 6280, we actually nicknamed it, a couple of us, the Numpty Bus. We just couldn't. None of us. It was always the last one to get out the yard. He had front suspension and cab suspension, but he just. I don't know why. There's just something about that tractor I didn't like. So I probably wouldn't favour that. But like I said, the 6270 I used to drive there a bit. Absolutely fine. Yeah. No problem.
Yeah.
So whether it was a Friday afternoon tractor, I don't know. But that would probably be one that sticks in my mind of not a tractor I'd probably want to get back into again. That tractor.
Talking about Massey then, obviously since then, Fendt have extended, or Agco have obviously extended their stables. They've got obviously Fendt, they've got Massey, they've got Vultra. Challenger as well. Yeah. And now obviously the Fendt gearboxes, the Vario boxes, are now being reflective in those tractors.
Yeah, yeah.
Are they becoming all the same, or are they different, or what is your opinion on people?
They are the same. Obviously, you slightly got your different powerhouses, and this will probably help the Massey boys. But I do think definitely back with the 3090, 3095s. Probably moving on from who had the rear linkage first, the precision of their rear linkage with the draft controls for ploughing. I don't think at that time, so probably 93, 94, 95, they were the best of the market for the rear linkage. Obviously, again, now everything's probably all caught it up. A bit like Fendt with their CVT variable gearboxes. They had them first, they were ahead of the market. All the rest catching them up, or like say Massey's and that, they're just putting that gearbox in there because they're all under the same stable. So it's all, you'd have a similar sort of joystick in the cab. Like now, most cabs now, for everything's all on one joystick, all mounted on your seat, and then it's all touchscreen controls, which it's easy to do. It's there. You can, and most tractors now you get a similar, like a rear link arm would look the same on most tractors now. So you can jump in from one to the other, and without too much telling or looking, you should be able to think, well, that's linkage, that's gearbox, there's four-wheel drive, let's go.
And that's why I wanted a 1989 Fendt, because I don't know how to drive it.
You'd have had levers then, but yeah.
Still to this day, I still haven't driven a Fendt.
Have you not?
No.
Well, Max has beaten you then.
Yeah.
But I will say, and I think most Fendt drivers agree, once you've learnt how to drive it, like really drive it, is the easiest tractor you will drive.
Yeah.
Because it's stepless transmission, go. Literally is go. I do think
that's why we made it look so easy when we've done the flail topper.
Exactly.
I'll link that video at the end actually.
Yeah, put it over watch.
For the definitely flail topper video where we all had a different flail topper. Josh had an ATV flail topper. I had a smaller flail topper behind me, Sammy.
Yeah.
And Lee had the McConnell
Mega 270.
There we go. In front of the 724.
That's it. Yeah. So definitely, I think that comes back to like Agco owning all of it. Well, why not pick the best bits? And move them across. If it's a proven gearbox and it's working, why not put them into the Massey's? Massey's still got their own touches, of course they do, and they might even tweak that gearbox a bit. But it's a proven gearbox. Why try to pay developers to make one when actually you've got one here to just put in, sort of thing. So, and again, the Massey now they brought out that 8S, which would be the equivalent probably 724 sizes. It's all that moving on, using what you've got available, I think. And even coming back to like your John Deere's, your New Hollands, your cases, they're all going CVT boxes now. And I think as well, it's coming back to your driver situation, it's comfort. It's keeping some, if you're going to be sat in there 14, 16 plus hours a day,
it's got to be like your home, isn't it?
You spend more time in that cab than you do at home, to be fair.
Yeah, that's what Anne-Marie told me about you.
Yeah. They laugh at me when I take my boots off and get in on my carpets and that, but why not? When you sat at home, you don't leave your work boots on, do you? No. When you sat watching your telly, but so why not? So you get in, kick your boots off. So you got to make it as comfortable as possible, which is like I say, all these tractors now. They're all getting there.
So talking about your stable then. Going on more of a farming, we talk about a lot about contracting and bigger machinery. But what have you got in your? Obviously, I know what's in your stable, but so what's in your stable at home?
We had from new is a Sammy Explorer 90 top. Absolutely little lovely little
Mighty 90.
Mighty. Yeah, that's it. Again, you've been down and driven that one with me, Bailey. It was brand new to us at the time, year 2002. And I always remember my dad buying it at North Devon Show, £16,000, brand new. Didn't have air conditioning, which was probably its biggest little downfall now. But you can have the side windows, you got your back window, sunroof, everything you can get, so you still keep cool. But now, what would you buy for 16,000?
Well, probably the same. That tractor's
probably still worth nearly that now.
In the condition it's in.
Yeah, he is tidy.
Yeah, was a 22-year-old.
He'd be 23 in the summer.
Yeah.
He is now coming to. He probably wants a tyre change. So those tyres done 23 years.
Yeah.
So we got that one. Like I say, a little 90. We've then got a Sammy Iron 130, which is very much the Sammy Explorer was Sammy, very much from where they came originally. The Sammy Iron is the Deutz, because obviously Sammy, Deutz, Lamborghini, Hurleman are all under SDF. Again, a bit like a big group like Agco or C&H, which is Case New Holland. You're finding that now. The biggest independent one out there is John Deere, and they do lead the sales. They're the biggest tractor supplier in the world.
I believe that Kubota are the second.
I think they are. They are. The engines they send out, Kubota is flying up the ranks. So then we got the 130 Sammy Iron, and we then we're looking for a variable gearbox, tractor at the time, because we purchased a big square baler, and to get the optimum out of a machine, obviously you want to push it fast, but you don't want to be bundling it into it, then you block it up or break a shear bolt or something like that. With the variable gearboxes, and any of them will do it, you can get it to 0.1 of a kilometre adjustment each time. So if you want to go that little bit faster, you can just go that little bit faster, rather than like our iron and a lot of the other tractors, you just shunt up through the gearbox, and you probably got a jump of maybe a K or half a K maybe, which might be a bit too much. But then you slow down, then it's probably not fast enough. But so actually, we end up then we've got a Fendt 718 variable. Partly at the time we didn't want to buy new, so we went back looking, and I'd obviously had experiences with the 820 etc. in the past, and we thought about it, and yeah, Dad enjoys it. He drives it, not as much as me, but he does drive it. So that's the 3 main tractors, and then we got the Manitou Teleander, like I say, as Max loves.
Yeah, I was going to buy a Merlin myself, but I didn't have the choice.
No, I mean, you wouldn't be allowed that. I wouldn't allow that.
Keep the fire extinguisher.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's our Manitou. We then run a John Deere Combine Hillmaster, which, like I say, you've seen on your videos. Again, I would call that a modern classic of a combine. The Hillmaster, the levelling system, the way he combines.
Was it a
2256?
2256,
yeah. And then real close to me heart is me Bateman sprayer.
Yeah.
I haven't mentioned them yet.
Right. RB35.
25.
25.
Yeah, 24 metre booms.
35 is the next one he's getting.
Yeah. It's on the shopping list. You've always got a shopping list.
Yeah.
You always want to look for something.
Talking about shopping lists then.
Yeah.
Talking about shopping lists. Ultimate question. Now, this is where I'd like everyone to get involved in the comments below, because we'd like to know what you would put into this list. Yeah. And that is, if I gave you, well, not if I gave you, because that's
yeah, carry on. Yeah.
If you suddenly had £1 million in front of you,
yeah,
what machinery would you go and buy? I have a feeling there's going to be one brand in there.
One brand's coming out first then, which I've mentioned. The 724 would be the tractor. I would then actually look into...
I thought you might have said 728, to be quite honest.
Nearly.
I know how you think that's going to be the next 724.
Yeah, I think it will be, but at the moment I still... 724 is proven now.
So what sort of money is that rolling out at then? 180 grand?
Plus 200,000, I would
Is
say,
it?
for that one. Yeah. Brand new. Yeah, plus 200,000.
Makes that mower we talked about earlier yesterday cheaper, doesn't it?
So you'll go second hand, it's got a bit more change.
Probably, yeah, exactly. Someone told me that was through a salesman. It wasn't that brand, it was another brand. Most tractors, and this was only probably 2 years ago or 18 months ago, the number of horsepower you'd want is £1,000 of horsepower to what that tractor would be nigh on what you'd be looking to pay. So at the time, 150 horsepower, you're probably looking at 150,000. So that gives you an idea of 724, 240 horsepower. You might get a bit of discount in there, but you're going to be plus 200,000 for that tractor.
It's quite interesting seeing here the price of tractors now. And then a news report I saw the other day, and that is February this year, is the lowest amount of new tractor sales that has happened this century.
25 years.
In 25 years, this February sold the least amount of new tractors.
Yes, yeah.
That is a fair statistic, isn't it?
It is.
Is it because it's just getting too bloody dear?
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and what's happening in the news at the moment with everything else? People thinking about the money side of things a bit more.
Well, exactly. Can you spend? Can you think to
invest in your future?
Well, that's it. Well, exactly. Yeah. Is there going to be the future? I think there is. There's always going to have to be.
It'd be interesting to see where the figures are in March, because obviously you get new registrations out in March.
That's some of it. Yeah, exactly.
The month before the end of most people's tax years.
Yes. Yeah. They think
most new tractors will be sold in March. Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see where the figures are in March. But for it to be the lowest amount of new tractors sold,
that's
new tractors registered.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, you had the 5 sort of years post-COVID, which have been very good for dealerships, very good for manufacturers, struggling to get machines. Whatever machine came in, it was sold.
That's it.
Now it's got that little bit of a lull, so it could be a case that everyone, they bought a lot of new stuff in the last 5 years. They don't need to do it this year. Actually this year we'll hold on to it. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, and I think some of that from going back to the COVID, I think you pre-COVID or even perhaps like beginning in the year 2000s, dealers' yards were always full. They would happily have 2 or 3 tractors sat there with a certain range or specification on them. But then you might think, well, I'll wake up tomorrow, I could do actually buying, say, a new tractor. Then I know it's a bit extreme, but you could go in, and you could probably have that tractor in perhaps a couple of weeks. Whereas now you've got to probably order it, build slot it, might be 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Well, suddenly, do you see ahead in 6 months' time? Where do you think you're going to be?
Yeah.
I think that's probably some of the sales, a bit of it.
Well, when we had the dealership, before COVID, you'd sell something and you know it would be in stock.
Yes, yeah.
Whereas
someone had it.
During COVID and after COVID, for 2 years probably, you're going, oh, hang on a second, before I take the money.
Let's just check.
Yeah, let's just check.
Make sure
and if it's not in stock, how long is it going to be? Because that is a grey area, isn't it?
Or do we? Then you have to either upsell them or downsell them, depending on what their situation was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you got your 724. That's 200 grand you spent.
Yeah.
I'll
claim that back.
Is this a bill included or a bill ex?
Excluded. I'll claim that back. I look for a direct drill of some kind.
What sort of 6 metre horse?
Yeah, I think so. You'd be Horses, Kuhn have got good ones out. There's Missouri, they've got the big drills, direct drills coming out now. A lot of them got Amazon, have got them.
Yeah.
Caverlan got all these direct drills. I think.
Would you go 6 metre?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'd look for 6.
And what's that, about 150 grand?
Yeah, let's call it 100,000. Just
100,000?
give you a bit of change, yeah.
Just give you a little bit more scope. He's obviously got a big list.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, right, we'll call it 300,000 at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've obviously got a good relationship with the dealer at the moment.
Yeah, exactly, the way I'm spending. I think then I'd have a sprayer in there of some kind. The Bateman.
RB50?
But 55's the top one, but I think I would stick with a 35.
35?
Yeah. And just fascinates me the technology on the sprayers now. You can go for 36 metre booms. They're running at 500mm spacings on their nozzles, so you've got 72 nozzles across that boom. But that outside nozzle there, if you started swinging around, which is PVM they call it, PVW, can't remember. Anyway, pulse width management. As they come around, that outside one, as he knows he's going faster because he's 18 metres from the centre point, he'll actually increase the pressure to that single nozzle, so he's still applying 200 litres a hectare. Whereas that one on the inside is slowing right down, so he's half the speed. They'll drop that nozzle or drop the pressure, so he's still only applying, rather than suddenly going around that one's doing 100 and this one's doing 300. And again, our size fields, we haven't got these 100, 200, 300 acre fields.
Just straight up and down.
Exactly, we haven't got that. So if you're coming in, say that's the headland, so he'd spread along there, as you're coming out through here, that outside nozzle would then switch off. As soon as he gets over that mark, he'd then switch off. So as he's coming out through, you'd start seeing the spray slowly decreasing to that single nozzle there.
To that point. It's mad, isn't it?
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's accuracy, it's pinpoint accuracy, it's precision farming again.
Yeah.
I think it's got to be. I'm afraid you've got to be able to produce more on less ground. That's what we're coming to.
All right.
And how do you do it? You've got to be precise. So yeah, that would probably take us to 600,000.
He's 300,000, is he?
I would have thought so.
God, he spent already half of his budget already, hasn't he? Right.
I'll have to come and borrow some more. I just think then general nooks and crannies. I think then probably there wouldn't be half as much, but start filling up your workshop then.
Yeah.
What we're talking Milwaukee tools, are we?
Yeah, Milwaukee tools. Yeah, I could get over somebody I think that knows a bit about Milwaukee.
Yeah.
But I think we haven't really touched on it. But like the breakdown wise, we did touch a bit on the backup service. But you want to be able to do so much yourself. You want to be able to. I think you want a fully kitted workshop.
Yeah.
As well. You want to be able to repair something. You want to be able to get in there with
quick
spams.
and get to.
Well, that's it. How often are you out Saturday afternoon, Sundays? You don't want to be ringing up. I know the dealers will be on call, etc. They're very good. But if you can help with it, you don't want to be doing it.
No.
You don't want to be ringing them.
And you don't also want to be digging around your workshop in different places.
No, exactly.
Trying to find 30mm spanner.
No, exactly.
Didn't know where you put it last time.
Perhaps that £400,000 you're going to invest into a mechanic full time.
That's true. Yeah,
You also would drive a tractor.
Well, that's it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to have a forager in there somewhere.
You reckon forager in there?
Yeah.
Well, that's the rest of your budget gone then, isn't it?
So that's good. That would be gone. Yeah, that's it. So I got 3 machines to drive.
Yeah.
1 machine put behind it.
So we're going for a crone forager.
Not afraid not. No. It'd be class either. Yeah, I think I'd stick with 800 series. The one I drive is 860.
You'd be able to buy that one right back, look. You think
easy.
that one that you spent so many hours.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
There's more wear on that seat from Lee's ass than anyone else.
Yeah, it didn't take long when I sat back in and find the groove.
Yeah, you're still there.
That's it, exactly.
Pasty from last year.
Yeah, in the fridge.
Oh,
so put the forager in there, and that would be that'd be $1 million gone. I'm afraid $1 million don't go very far nowadays.
Go very far,
you start going through the agriculture trader.
Yeah.
You can't buy something on every page.
No.
Not now.
Gone are the days of going through and ticking the ones
exactly.
you want.
Yeah. Circle round and put a number on the front. Yeah, Dad, have you seen that one? Yeah. Like the fire of that bit.
Yeah. So obviously, spending £1 million, there's factors in there to be considered, isn't there? Obviously, the right dealer that works for you.
Of course it is. Yeah.
Finding that right relationship. You know, not just a salesman who's going to make it all sound pretty to start with, but you want to make sure that you're going to be looked after.
Yes,
Obviously, the price has got to be right within your budget and your machine that you're looking for.
Well, that's it.
So whether it's more low budget machinery or whether it's high budget machinery.
Yes,
It's you need to be considered. You
do need the specific machines for the job. Don't get me wrong, but there is that time of do I need to spend so many 1,000? Or Josh yourself say as a contractor, you've got that machine. Well, actually, a lot of the machines that farmers will own is probably because it needs time sensitive. Going back to the sprayer, sometimes you could have your agronomist come in and could do a spraying that this afternoon. Well, it's unfair of me to ring you and say I need me field spray this afternoon.
Depends how much.
When you're probably a week. Well, there's that, but you're probably sat 2 or 3 days lined up anyway. Whereas
you're not sat on a phone call from you.
No, not waiting on there for me to ring up and say come spraying. Because it might not happen.
Unless you pay me 400,000.
Well, yeah. I'll buy my own then.
Get a robot one then.
Yeah, exactly. So there is certain machines that we would never give up as a farm.
Mm-hmm.
But there is other machines, perhaps like I'd say your ploughs, your dung spreaders. Well, I could say to you, I could do that field plough next couple of weeks. When you got a chance, come over. Well, then it helps you to invest because you think, well, actually, I've got so much plough in there, I can buy that plough and I'll use it. But then, like you said, it all comes back. You just got to assess what the machine is, what he's worth. Do you buy new? Do you buy second hand? There's so many factors out there. It's just
Yeah, but a lot of people, I think there's probably a lot of it, and that is once people borrow money to buy a machine.
Once you start,
you're on a bit of a treadmill, then, aren't you?
Yeah.
You've got 3 years to buy that tractor, and you've got a balloon payment at the end. The only way to get rid of that balloon payment is to change that tractor again for another tractor and set yourself another balloon payment in 3 years more time. And that is I'd say a pretty scary roller coaster to be on.
I think
if
so.
you're stuck in that rut, and that might just be one machine. That might be on a dozen different machines or more. And right down to your pickup. I think it's a very scary treadmill to be on. I've been there where I borrowed money years ago when I had my landscaping business, and I never liked it. When I started the dealership, I always said I'd run this business without borrowing a penny.
Yeah.
And started that business with £5,000 back in 2012.
Wasn't it?
And then grew that business to turning over nearly 3 million within 12 years without borrowing a penny. It can be done.
Oh, it's brilliant. And you just got to be sensible.
I've seen young contractors, fencing contractors, for instance, who've had an old Ford tractor to go post banging with. Perfect. That's all they needed. But they thought, all my mates have got John Deere's, and went out and bought a 6920 to put the post banger behind, which. And then he had
paying for itself, isn't it?
Then he had
50,000 there gone straight away at that time. Probably.
And he had £700 a month finance bill then every month. It's not always about having to get new.
No, I don't think so.
I know we promote new machinery as a channel.
There is that. Yeah.
Obviously it's all got to come from somewhere because without the new stuff you don't get second hand stuff.
No, it's all that rolling thing then through, and someone's got to buy new, so we can perhaps buy second hand. Or
yeah.
That's what it comes back to. I think you just got to look at that job. What you're going to do with it? Do you obviously you need it because you got to do the job, or could you have a contractor? So there's all that sort of marketing. But again, it comes back to if you buy these bigger tractors, well, I've got to use that tractor then. So you're not going to leave your tractor sat in the shed if actually you could perhaps buy a piece of machinery, put behind it, and then go out and use that tractor. So it's a circle, isn't it?
Mind you, I've got Sammy Silver 110 down there parked, which I've owned for probably 8 months, and I think we've done 11 hours in it.
I was going to say we got to 20.
Month an hour, an hour a month even.
That's all right. So he'll come busier in the summer.
Yeah. So
I'll look after it. Down with me.
So this year we've got, like I said, videos coming from FPM Machinery with the power harrow first.
Yeah.
And then we've got
hopefully May time.
Yeah, silage in.
Yeah.
With regards to the mower conditioner.
Yeah.
And the 8-star tedder.
Yeah.
And then there's probably some other stuff there as well. We're gonna.
Sounds good.
As well. So you're going to see a lot more of Lee this year on the channel, and then if any other agricultural brands come on doing stuff, I'm sure you'll be involved.
Oh, I'm sure we'll have. Yeah.
We are trying to.
Unless it's Schmaz.
Don't seem too much to there. Yeah.
Then Mike will be driving.
Yeah.
And we are planning a tractor comparison video.
Yeah.
At the moment, we're just trying to get a few ducks in the line.
Lined it all up exactly
before we do that. But we're planning it for this month, but hopefully it will be at some point soon. So we will bring it to you at some point. So yeah. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Thank you to FPM for supporting this podcast, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheerio.
Cheerio.